Hey, what's up everybody? Everything's going good here. We got a little Meadow in the house. She's crashed out. Been running around outside a little bit, even though it's super windy. And we got that storm hitting that was hitting California yesterday. And so it's, let's go outside here real quick. I'll show you this while she's crashed out. And then we'll come back inside and talk about off-grid property. Because I've been getting a lot of questions online, and I figured it was easier for me to do a live stream and just kind of go over stuff. But first, let's go outside. We've got winds in the 50 to 55 mile an hour range, and the camper cover is holding good. There's not been any problems with it moving around or anything. Let's go back here. We'll show you kind of how things are looking. So it's holding firm. Everything's fine with it, and I'm real pleased with how the camper cover works. Hey, what's up, Camping Out? How you doing, brother? So the broad gabions are good. I'm filling them in more. I've almost got them all filled up now. And over here in the back, I'll show you. Just filled up that one, and so we've got 2 more to go, and then we'll be set. And then here's looking west right now. Got a little bit of gust coming. There's the old hammock. But here's looking to the west. Got lots of clouds coming in, and we're supposed to get some rain and then snow later. And hey, what's up, Brandon? How's it going, brother? So we're supposed to be getting some rain and snow later tonight, but it's only like a 40% chance. Coming back inside here. Looky here, we got a little Meadow chilling. What's up, sweetie? You got up from your nap. So she's been napping for about an hour, so she's probably up now for a while. What's up, sweetie? You need to go outside and go potty here in a sec? We may have to run outside here and go potty, but she's been doing really good. We've been developing a really good bond lately. She just sits on my lap in here, and you know, she definitely has like the chew tendencies, like every puppy does. But for the most part, she's really coming into her own and doing well. Do you need to go outside? You go potty? What are you thinking? One of the things is that when I'm in the hot tub out there, you know, obviously I'm not in it right, you know, these days because it's too windy. But when the wind chill's out, I'll go out there, and then at night she can't see me because I turn off all the lights and stuff like that. So she'll sit in here and howl and be like, "Oh, come back!" And I'll like yell from the hot tub, "Meadow, it's okay. I'm just chilling out here." All right, you want to go outside real quick? I think she might have to go to the bathroom. So let's go outside. Why don't you come out here real quick? You want to come potty? You want to come potty? Let's go potty. All right, let's go on out. Go ahead, girl. Good job. So, hey, Jack Outback, what's going on, brother? Dude, when in your video today, when you were talking about country living on the Hudson River, I was like, man, that sounds awesome. Because I had a friend of mine in college. He was from Rhode Island, so I learned how to surf at Narragansett Beach, and I like the East Coast a lot. Just the history out there is amazing. And then I've got a younger brother who lives in Franklin, Tennessee, but he's getting ready to move out to the country because Franklin, Tennessee is just like blown up like crazy. When he moved there was no one around. And then just over the years, he's been there for 20 years, it's really kind of gone up, you know, a lot more popularity. And Nashville itself has just gotten huge. Hey, Meadow, what you doing over there, girl? Oh, let me show you this. She likes to chase the you're over here playing with this. She likes to chase this thing and play with it, the strap from the hammock there. So she'll sit here and play with this for hours, which is kind of nice because if she's outside and I don't know where she's at, I can always come over here and she's just in here chilling. Hey, Meadow, let's go inside, Pumpkin. Come here, sweetie. Let's come over here. I may have to use a little bit of food to coax her to get in here. But yeah, Mike, it's a real beautiful day here. It's been pretty windy. We got that storm rolling in from California that just clobbered them, I guess, today, and I think it's going to clobber them tomorrow as well. And I don't know if you guys saw, but like Donner Pass and all that stuff up by Truckee and all those areas got annihilated with snow. And I guess they had to shut down the freeway out there and everything. Come on, girl. You want some treats? Where are you at? Are you over here? Where'd you go? There you are. Okay, let's go inside. All right, she's right here. I'll flip her around. Oops. You want some treats? Let's go in here. Come on. Let's go inside. So, but yeah. So, okay. So, mobile tech. Let's see here. You're saying 50 miles east of Tahoe. We got some good snow. Oh, cool. Yeah. We used to go out to Tahoe when I was a kid. We had a place on Heavenly, which was awesome because they get clobbered with snow. And then also we go down to Kirkwood and go snowboarding there. Let me put this on the tripod here. That way I can get her a little bit of a treat. And wow, 12 feet of snow and 145 mile an hour winds. That's nuts. So yeah, you're let's see. Whoops, sorry about that. Camping Allen, you're right. Like Franklin has been because everybody wants to live close to Lynchburg and Jack Daniels. Well, and also too, it's like that whole area down there, like Franklin, Brentwood, all that stuff. When my brother moved there, gosh, 20 years ago, there was no one down there, and we'd go down to like Leaper's Fork and those areas, and there was always just the locals. And now, you know, I mean, it's like any place that's awesome. You know, it kind of blew up. And the downtown Franklin area is like this really cool. Sorry, Meadow keeps hitting that. It's this really cool historic area. Oops. That it was built in, I think it was like 1715 or something like that. It's really neat. And there's like the Mellow Mushroom is down there, and some other good places to like eat and hang out. And but when my brother moved there, we'd go down to that square and there would be nobody down there. And now you go down there and it's just crazy. But, you know, I mean, things change like that. And, hey, what's up, Vivian? Things change. And you know, so he actually got 10 acres out in the country, and he's building the house out there. And it's crazy. Like, the house that he had when he moved there, he built a house and just kind of on the outskirts of Franklin, which at that time was only a couple miles from the downtown square area. And I think he paid like $250 for it. Now it's worth $1.3 million, which is just crazy. He's like, dude, the real estate values around here are nuts. And so it's crazy. So, oh, hey, Journey, let's see, Wolf, a friend in Pagosa Springs says, oh, wow, 8 to 10 feet of snow. That's wild. Yeah, I saw that my friends up in Jasper were getting quite a bit of snow. They went on a snowmobile ride, and, I mean, it was deep powder, real deep. And so I think that, you know, maybe that winter finally decided to show up. Out here, you know, we haven't had much snow. Generally speaking, in northern Arizona in the wintertime, there are some pretty good storms that come through here and dump a lot of accumulation. I mean, Flagstaff gets clobbered. You know, they always get a ton of snow because that's kind of like the first big elevation rise before, or the first big elevation rise coming from like the desert area and from the California coast, and then it comes and hits the Colorado Plateau and then hits Flagstaff and just gets clobbered. Williams, same thing. They get a lot of snow. Parks, Arizona, they get a lot of snow. And then further east of that, like Alpine, you know, they get a lot of snow out there, and that's more at like 8,000 to 9,000 feet, I think. Alpine's like 8,500, I think. And then same with Greer, Arizona. They're at like 9,000 feet. They get a lot of snow. That's full on Alpine up there. But I was watching this YouTube video about how a long time ago, you know, the whole San Francisco Peaks area, which is around Flagstaff, that was all created by volcanic activity. And the peak, I think it's called San Francisco Peak, that peak used to be 16,000 feet. And then a huge volcano came and blew out the side of it, kind of like Mount St. Helens. Come up here, girl. Come up here. You want to come up here? Come here. You want your treat? Well, come here. Well, come here. She's just sitting here staring at me. Come here. You want me to get you? Come up here. So, San Francisco Peak over there is, you know, you got like Humphreys Peak, and then you've got San Francisco Peak, and you got all these different mountains. But it used to be San Francisco Peak was the tallest one out there, and it had, like I said, 16,000 feet in elevation. It was constantly covered in snow. And then when it blew out, yeah, repent or perish, it blew out like Mount St. Helens. If you look on a map of Flagstaff, it blew out to the north. Like, I think the north, I can't remember if it was northeast or northwest, but there's actually a place down, and you can go camp in that area now, and it's just a really really neat area. But how cool would that be to see a peak that's like 16,000 feet, you know? Because like the biggest ones I've ever seen in Colorado, like Mount Elbert, you know, 14,400, and so it's hey, what's up, Naj? So you know, 16,000 feet would be pretty impressive. So hey, what's up, Tyler? Has a bike? What's going on, brother? Hey, I was just so you guys see insane winds, like yeah, we got total insane winds. It's crazy out here. I think it's like clocking in, we're having gusts up to 55 miles an hour, and come here, sweetie. And so it's been crazy. But I was just telling people about that video that I'd sent you on text about the, you know, how San Francisco Peak used to be like 16,000 feet, which I think is crazy. It'd be cool to see that stuff. I mean, you know, volcanic activity, of course, takes all that stuff out, but you know, on like Google Maps, if you're looking down, you can see other mountains to the north of there. That there's one that erupted. I think they said, I can't remember if that was the one that erupted in 1100 AD or not, but you can see a lava field of where the mountain like went off, and then to the north of it into like the Navajo res. There's like, here you go. There's like, you want this? There's like a lava field. So, you ready? You ready, girl? She loves these toys. We had some, so last weekend we had some Nomad friends come and hang out. It was my friend Jason's birthday. And Kelly and Craig, they had one of the ambulances that were up here. They brought that toy, this toy, and then this toy, and then like some other ones. And they really liked it. Meadow really likes these toys. These are her favorite toys right now. What you got there, girl? I think she may have hit a cactus or something. I'm gonna have to go through her fur and see if she's got a spine in there. She keeps on hammering this spot. But everything here is going good. You know, we're just kind of hanging out. And let's see, Tyler's bike. Yeah, I bike parked and camped through. Oh, that's cool, man. I want to go check that out because that'd be like otherworldly, I think. You know, to see all that terrain. And plus, too, I'm getting new batteries for the RC truck, and then I want to take it out there and you know, to take it all over the rocks. And then also, too, Tyler, I talked to Spence Gustav, who is the guy that I volunteer with in Sedona, checking out all the different ruins and everything. I'll have it all. Thanks a lot. Hey, real quick, I'll get back to this. Yep, we got clobbered in Valley. Oh yeah, I heard that California's got totally clobbered. But Tyler, back to what I was saying though about Sedona. So there's this one area where you can 4x4 too, and the whole way up there you can't camp anywhere except for right at the end. And that's that area that I want to show you. And so I talked to Spence today and told him like, hey, I want to go out there within about a month's time. So maybe since you couldn't come up here this weekend just due to the weather, you know, we could go down there and I'll show you some spots. It's really cool. There's a ton of ruins just right around this little campsite area. And it's right at the edge of a wilderness area that you can go into. There's like artifacts all over the ground and all that stuff. Hey, Lance, you were asking what brand is my RC truck? So it's a Traxxas. It's a TRX4. And I've done a few upgrades to it. This is, I've done the axle upgrades. So I've got a new axle here, and then a new axle here. I did control arms that the hubs and like these things. These are all heavy duty brass. I did also with the steering deal here, I put in a metal one. Whoops. A metal steering arm instead as opposed to the plastic one because the plastic ones strip out too easy. I opted to just stay with the shocks because the shocks that are on here are actually pretty good. And then I also redid the motor, or the little motor in here. It's a, see, what is the motor? It's a brushless motor. It's pretty awesome. I mean, I've done about $600 worth of upgrades to this, and I can actually launch this thing off of like 20-foot cliffs, and it just keeps going. So I do need to get some new tires, though. I've got Method wheels, and it's pretty awesome. Hey, what's up, this nomadic idea? Let's see. Go out to Sycamore Canyon. Oh yeah, so that's where I was at winter camping on Thanksgiving. There's a spur that goes right off the road that goes to Sycamore Canyon. On top of it, you know, from Williams, like if you go south, and then you can go way out to the point, to Sycamore Point. And so there's a spur that goes to the left-hand side, and it's really rugged to get to this spot, but it's right on the cliff edge. And then you can go, it looks directly at the San Francisco peaks through like this insane, you know, canyon area. So it's pretty awesome. We'll probably have a little bit of noise with Meadow playing with that. But yeah, I like this thing. This thing's awesome. I did get lights upgrades too, so I could crawl at night. But unfortunately, the lights have kind of gone out. What's up, Nick? How's it going, man? And then I got to get new tires too. If you look, let's see here. The tires are starting to kind of wear. Yeah, you can see it right here. The tires are starting to split a little bit, but it's all good. The only thing is when that happens, water can get in, and then it creates like these have foam in it. It's real soft foam for rock crawling, and it's real good tires for rock crawling. But it makes it to where the foam gets wet, and then it kind of ruins it and gets them all waterlogged, and they harden up. So I do need to upgrade those. But there's a really great stuff. Check this out. There's a really great the hobby shop in Prescott that has, it's in the mall in Prescott, and I can't remember, I think it's called Valley Hobby is what it is, and they've got tons of good stuff in there. And so that's where I go to get all my upgrades, and then I order stuff offline too. And then I do also have new drive shafts that I need to put in here. It's drive shaft here and then drive shaft here, and I just haven't done that yet. So let's see, Arkansas Travel, you said you went to Critters of the Moon National Monument in Idaho last summer. Yeah, I've heard that place is cool. You know, I have yet to go to Idaho and go Nomad there for the summertime. And, you know, right now, just kind of with the way society is and the world is and everything, I'm kind of more inclined to just stay local. because I there's so many cool spots around where I am, and northern Arizona has some places like, especially on the res, that people just don't go there because they think, oh, Indian reservation, they get a bad vibe. But it's like the White Mountains are incredible, so that's where I'm planning on going, and this summer, and doing some really good fly fishing and camping with this little one. And I took her out hiking the other day. She did really good, so I'm stoked about that. And then yeah, Mike, I'm gonna do more RC videos for sure. And I want to do some with Phil from down in Mom, because he has like 10 different RC trucks. He built one out last year that's insane. But I mean, he's like, dude, he's like, I could spend way too much money on this stuff. I'm like, I get it. Because this one here, the TRX4, it's got the high-low gear, so it's got the crawling speed, and then also the high speed, so I can really jump it and stuff like that. But it comes, I think it's like $550 out of the box. And then with all the upgrades, I've got probably a total of like $1,200 into this. But you talk about fun. I mean, especially with truck camping, you're always in rocky spots and things like that. And so it's, it's great that when you get done four-wheeling for the day, you can go and around camp, you can kind of mess around with this. And it actually helps you with 4x4 because you can pick lines and kind of figure out how things work. And so we had a comment here about Meadow. See, Andy, you're saying Meadow is looking confident now. Yeah, she's doing great, man. And, the thing about it is like what I do all day long is I like chill with her here and just let her kind of do her thing. Hey, what's up, Elsa? I'm Baron. Let's see what we got here. Property is looking amazing. Love the thumbnail on the vid. Ah, yeah, I miss you guys too. I hope to see y'all soon. I hope to make it to Colorado this summer, where it's going to kind of play out. I need to get a shipping container here. And so I'm going to sell. I've got an older quad that I'm going to sell. And then if I can get that shipping container set up and then be able to lock everything up and then leave for a little bit, I'm going to come to Colorado. And I'd love to go fishing with y'all or camping or something like that. We could go check out some cool spots. There's a place south of Jasper that I think would be awesome. But Meadow's doing great. She's growing like crazy. I mean, she's really getting big. And but she's really loving, and that's the thing I like about her, is that she's just a fantastic, like, loving puppy. She's she's biting stuff like usual, and it's got like the chewy thing. But she, in the morning time, she's like real affectionate, and then in the evening time, she sleeps on my shoulder here. She'll like come up and cuddle up against me and sleep right here. So it's really great having her around. And so let's see, I think Pilot and Meadow would love each other. Yeah, I think so. That'd be awesome. Well, and it's kind of like how Sierra and Camp used to. I mean, I swear Sierra had a crush on Camp, because every time she'd get around Camp, she'd walk all gingerly and stuff and really pay attention to what Camp was doing, which I thought was awesome. And then Camp, same thing. It seemed like he was really interested in Sierra. So, but I think that Meadow is. I don't think she's an Aussie Shepherd. I think she probably has something else in her. It looks like, you see how this tail is always like this? That's more of an Akita trait. And then her paws are huge. And she's more than doubled in size in 2 weeks. And so when I got her, I mean, she was tiny, and now she's really getting big. And I did notice that on the Coconino Rescue website, they have 2 of her siblings still available to adopt. And they changed the description of what they were. They said that it was like a shepherd. I can't remember what they had it with. The shepherd something else mix. And so they're realizing it's not the shepherd Aussie, but who knows? I mean, maybe I should just do a genetics test and see. Oh, thank you, Kim. I appreciate that super chat. But the reason why I wanted to do this live stream today is I've been getting a lot of comments and questions about off-grid property in northern Arizona. So I kind of wanted to explain a few things about how things work. A lot of people say, I want to go into an area that does not have an HOA or a property owners association. And that's really hard to find out here unless you're buying massive parcels. And by massive, I mean like 200, 300 acres. Because the areas like that I'm in, that have roads that come in here that are maintained and all that stuff, there is an association that takes care of that. But there's a huge difference between a property owners association, POA, and then an HOA. And in my area and the areas surrounding me here, they have their property owners associations, and what they do is they take care of the roads that are not on the county maintenance road schedule. Because where I'm at, the whole area where I'm at is not on the county maintenance road schedule, which I kind of like, because that means the county's not driving around. And it's not that I'm doing anything against the law out here. It's just nice to just have the solitude, and not have anybody driving around. Another thing too is out here, it's very expensive to drill your own well. The wells could be 1,000 feet deep, which could be gosh, anywhere from 50 to 70 grand. And so, hey, what's up, Kelly Nazy? Hey, I just texted Craig. I was gonna show you. So Meadow loves these toys that y'all get. Let's see, they're on the ground. Loves these toys that y'all gave her. She loves this one, and then this one. These are her two favorite. And so if we're outside, if she's like outside running around, I need to get see. Look at her. She's like, that's mine. If I'm outside running around, or she's outside running around, I need her in the camper. I'll like do one of these, and she comes immediately to the camper. So she loves those. So I want to say thanks for giving us those. So Kelly Nazy, her and Craig were here last weekend. They were one of the folks that has the really cool ambulance. So, but back to the HOA and Property Owners Association thing. The deal is with them is that like my dues for the entire year is it's only $91. For the entire year. That's not per month. And with that, I'm allotted 4,000 gallons of water. And I never even come close to using that. It's more like about maybe 300 if I'm using my hot tub a lot. And so, I don't use very much water. The reason why you're allotted so much is because you're allowed to have livestock and stuff like that. Obviously, it's off grid, and a lot of people do have that. I have some friends that have cows and sheep and goats, and I mean, you name it. They've got a little bit of everything. She's like this all day. I joke that she has enough power or enough puppy energy to power a nuclear submarine. But so people do really full on homestead out here, and eventually I'll get to that point. But I'm just not there yet because I still want to travel a little bit in the truck, and I'd like to introduce Meadow to truck camping, and go out for 3 or 4 months at a time. So that's kind of the goal for the next couple of years, is to still do that while I build out my place and then get the food production up to par. But I am going to focus later this year, after I do some traveling, to do like you're allowed like 2 harvests here. You can do a harvest like before the monsoon season, then after. You can also do one during it, but it's kind of hard to do just because it can be raining a ton. But I'm going to do a harvest, like a fall harvest, and then hopefully be canning by the fall, and then try to get it to where I don't really have to go to the grocery store very much, because there are eggs just down the street. There's a guy that has tons of chickens, and he sells a dozen organic eggs for $5. And then I know people in the area that have really great baked goods like bread and all those things, and then also like goat's milk and goat cheese, and then also chicken, like meat birds. So I can get all that here locally. And I basically just have to, for myself, grow what vegetables that I want this summer, or in the fall, and then also sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes take about 100 days to grow. And so that's going to be my goal for this year. And then ease myself into, growing more and more food each year. And somebody was asking about the St. John's area. Lee, you're asking about that. You're looking at the Sierra Highlands. I don't know that area very well, but I will say that if you follow Frugal Off Grid has, that's where he's at out in that area. I don't know if he's specifically in the Sierra Highlands, but he grows all of his own food, and he's got everything out there. I'm very impressed with what he's done in the amount of time he's been there. That guy busts his tail, and he's built out an incredible homestead on just like, I think he has like 5 acres or something. It's not a huge parcel, but he's got everything he needs on it. And he just recently got horses. And so maybe check out his. Once again, it's Frugal Off Grid. The guy's name's John, real cool guy. And he's done a ton of work out there. So, it's 2 acres. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's say grow tree organics, rain catchment if you've got the property space. Yeah, most definitely. Because that's the one thing about monsoon season out here is I have a friend that does rain catchment during the monsoons. And he's like, I'll get like 12,000 gallons of water mid-monsoon, and just shut everything down because I've got my water for the year. And it's insane how much water can come down. So that's one thing too. And but you do want to make sure that you got good filtration and things like that, because when having water coming off the roof, there's dust and there's different things that can get into the water supply. Another thing too is just make sure that whatever thing that you have going into your downspouts that are going into your water containers, whether it's a 2,500 gallon container or whatever, try to secure that as good as you can around it, because animals will try to get in there for the water. And if you get an animal in there and they die, then it takes a bit of an effort to clean those out. But you can do it. It just takes some time. Somebody was asking if I'm in California. No, I'm in northern Arizona. I'm about, I don't know, an hour and a half from the California border. So I really like it up here. I love the solitude, especially after being in Colorado for so long. I mean, I love Colorado, but we all know that that place is kind of being loved to death, and the prices out there are ridiculous. I got to the point to where I just realized that it's a great place to visit. I love going there. I've got awesome spots to go fly fish and truck camp, and the 4x4 passes are insane. But I remember it also when I was a kid and there was no one around. We used to go to Lake City in Hinsdale County when I was young and all the way through high school. Here, Pumpkin, you gotta keep that. And we'd go from like Silverton over to Lake City and back, or Lake City to Silverton and back like that. And we wouldn't see anybody on Engineer or Cinnamon Pass, and now you drive it and it's crazy. So let's see, Brandon, what you're saying. Those storms the other week, we got, wow, dude, that's awesome. Hey guys, also if you see here at Grow Tree Organics, that's my friend Brandon. We're gonna hook up after the weather gets a little bit warmer, and definitely check out what he's doing over his property. He's got a bunch more knowledge than I do when it comes to homesteading. So let's see, William, you were asking how are prices on the land where I'm at. They're pretty good, but the smaller the parcel, the more of a premium you're going to pay. And so I've seen 2-acre parcels in here going for like 19 grand. I got 14 acres. Now, granted, this is before COVID, but I got 14 acres, 14 and a half acres in 2020 for 20,500. And I've got a really good parcel. I lucked out because what happened was everybody in the community said they were keeping an eye on this parcel to see when it come on the market. I met the guy who was representing the property across the street when he was out here. I just happened to call and he was in the area, and I said, hey, I'd like to check out that 10-acre parcel that's on the hillside. So I came over here and I met him, and oddly enough, he had followed my YouTube channel. He's like, oh man, I know who you are. And I was like, oh, that's cool. His name was John, and he was from Prescott. And he told me, he said, that 10-acre parcel is okay, but I've got a parcel across the street, which I haven't put on the market yet. I'm going to sell it. And I said, okay. So we came and walked this, and I said, this is what I want. And so I made him an offer, and he took it. And unfortunately, he was a bit older, and he passed away 2 days before closing, which I was really bummed about because he was excited to see what I was going to do with this place. And I told him, I was like, you're welcome to come out, and I'd love to have you, see what I plan to do with it. And he had originally wanted to move up here, but he was doing real estate, and all of his clients were in the Prescott area, and it was just too far of a drive. He's like, I couldn't make it work, and he's like, so I'd love to see what you're going to do with it. So hopefully he's looking down from above and pleased with what I've got going on here at the property. But but back to like looking for land, there's a couple things that I'd recommend checking out and asking, the realtor or whoever it is that you're working with to look at land. Number one, you want to see what the access is like. You don't want to be too far off of pavement. Like 10, 15 miles is about as much as I would recommend, because in the wintertime, the roads can be really sloppy and you can actually kind of get locked in. And then in the summertime with the monsoons, it's the same thing. The roads can get sloppy during that time. The one benefit to the summer, hey, what's up? The one benefit to the summertime is that the roads dry out much quicker because the sun's directly overhead. I know, but girl. Okay, now she's back to the biting portion of the day. she's had her nap and she's all energized. But the sun will be directly overhead during the summertime, and so the roads, get a lot of exposure and dry out quicker. In the wintertime, you have to think the sun is, way further to the south in the sky and more like a 45-degree angle. Well, since the area out here is so heavily wooded, what happens is the sun can't really get on the road, and it takes about 3 times as long for it to dry out. Hey, stop. So it takes about 3 times as long, 3 times as long to dry out. And stop it, Pumpkin. Hey, Pumpkin, we're on the tube. Don't eat my hands. And so the wintertime takes a little bit more planning because, we don't have the deep freeze here in the wintertime like you do in Colorado. The nice thing about that in Colorado is when it deep freezes, the roads are frozen all winter. And so getting in and out of really remote places is not as much of a problem if there's not a lot of snow on the ground. But here you'll get a lot of snow, and then it will melt, and then it will be sloppy for 2 or 3 weeks. There was a time here, like pretty much for the month of February, well, I'd say latter part of January and then the first 3 weeks of February, the roads were pretty much impassable. I'd have to get a running start at the hill that comes up to my place. There's a hill on the road that comes in here, and it's just steep, and I'd have to be 4-wheel drive and really gunning it to get up and over it. And I have friends that came out, they were like, man, I didn't know if I could get over here or not. And so you have to account for that. That's one thing that you want to make sure that you have that access. Now, I'm lucky because even though I'm 12 miles in here, 8.5 miles of it is paved. And so the county takes care of the 8.5 miles. And then, you know, the last, I'd say 2.5 miles, 3.5 miles, we take, can you believe this? We take care of it ourselves. And so we've got somebody out here that does like the road grading and all those things. But in the wintertime, you know, we don't do that because the roads are so soft. You know, you can't run a grader on the roads. If you do, it's going to have huge ruts through it. And so the grader that we use is typically just for the summertime. Pumpkin, okay, you're a little too much. Hey, no, okay, a little too much. She gives me the side eye when I get firm with her. So let's see. So that's one thing to look for, you know, when you're, or to ask, or to kind of inquire about when you're looking for property off grid in northern Arizona. The second thing I would say is your access to water. You know, like where are you going to get your water from? There's a couple different ways that you can get water. One of them is water delivery. And so that's actually what some of my friends use in the area, even though, yeah, William's just like, give me that hand. Even though there's a community well for where my friends live, there's actually two of them. They prefer to get their water delivered because it's so cheap. It's 2,000 gallons for $180. And they like that because then they don't put the wear and tear on their truck. Because if you're hauling water all the time and the roads are rugged, you know, you're going to have ball joints that go out. You're going to have suspension work that needs to be done. You've got tires, you know, those things add up. And so for them, they're like, yeah, you know, we could call every once in a while and spend $180 and we get 2,000 gallons brought to us and we just get to chill in our place. So that's one way you get water. Second way you get water is rain catchment. You know, so you build your structures out here to have lots of surface area on your roofs, and then make sure you put gutters on everything and have it go into water containers, and you're good to go there. So the water storage containers, you know, like a 2,500 gallon one, I think they're around, I haven't looked up recently, but I think they're anywhere from like $700 to $1,000 for that. Maybe a little bit less, depending on where you get them. And you can always get them on, you know, on Craigslist too. You don't have to buy them from Home Depot and pay full retail. But so you get those and you can put them around your place. I just have a water, the way I get my water is I get my water from a community well. And the community well is real nice that we have in our area. It has a 12,000 watt generator that's already in it. It's actually all enclosed in a shipping container. And I just pull up to the shipping container with my water tote on the back of my trailer. And then there's a code that I put in. And we all have the same code, so they don't track us or anything like that. It's just a key code to unlock it. And there's a little door that comes open. It's a push button. And you just push this green button and it comes out. And that's really nice because our well, I think they told me is 1,100 feet deep. And you have to think all the filtration of the water naturally that filtrates that goes down there. It's pure when it comes out. And so they test our water, and the water tests always come back as being really pure. Tastes great, and I can actually, it's kind of spoiled me a little bit because when I go into Prescott and maybe spend a night or two in town, you know, because I like going to the Hacienda Inn there. It's a historic hotel that allows for dogs. Yeah, no, I don't need a generator to use it. You were asking anybody out there. The generator is included. But when I go into town, I can taste the city water. I'm like, it tastes bad. You know, I can taste like whatever they put in it to treat it. And also too, you know, it goes through old pipes and stuff like that. Whereas out here, it comes direct from the ground. It tastes incredible, and I really like it. So that's another way to get water. And then let's see. So I've got and then also too, there are wells in town. So like the nearest town to me is Seligman. The only thing that sucks about that is that it used to just be coin operated, and now you have to have a account with the county. Like you have to open a water account with them, and then they track, you know, kind of how much you're getting out of there, which is kind of, I don't really care for that. So see, Brandon, you're saying, yeah, I can never go back to the city water. Yeah, I'm the same way. You know, it's just like when I was in Colorado, I used a high volume water purifier. It was actually the oh gosh, what is it called? It's from MSR. It's called the Guardian. So it's the Guardian water purifier. It's actually pretty big. It's got a pretty big cylinder on it, but it's got a pump on it. So I would put the little hose, you know, into those streams, those mountain streams. And I'd always be up at like, you know, 10,000 feet. So I mean, it's pure snow melt. So it's almost pure, but there is Giardia in those, so you got to make sure you purify it. And I could get like 5 gallons with that hand pump in like 30 minutes. And drinking that water and then going back to town and drinking water, I was like, oh my gosh, this tastes horrible. So I'd actually take my own water when I'd go into town if I stayed in town or whatever. Hey, what's up, Terry? I'd just take my own water because I didn't like the way it tasted. And, you know, after being out here for so long and also being on the road for 7.5 years, living out of my 4x4 truck at all those high elevations, I just don't ever envision myself going back to a city. Just because I like the solitude and the peacefulness of it and everything like that. And also the water tastes great and just the ability to grow my own food and really not have anybody up in your business. It's really nice. And then so that's about it for water. As far as what else you want to ask the realtor, I would say definitely ask them if there's a community well included when you purchase the area with, like, you know, does the POA take care of it? Do I have to take a generator there to use it? Because a lot of them do require you to take your own generator to run the well pump. And so that can be an additional expense. But if you think about it, so for example, like Sierra Verde Ranch, I think that they require like a 6,000 watt generator in order to run it with like a 9,500 watt surge, which that's a pretty big generator. But also too, that generator is going to double as your power for your house on the days or weeks where it just snows or rains nonstop. Because I operate almost 100% off solar. Hey, what's up, Ben Smiler? I operate almost 100% off solar, except for the times when we get storms hitting. You know, and then when the storms are hitting, I've got to have a little generator. Now I only have an 1,800 watt generator. It's a little Ryobi. It's real quiet, and that's basically just to put some extra power into my batteries that I use, because I use the EcoFlow, like the little solar stations that you can get that are all enclosed, that have the charge controller and the inverter in them and the LiFePO 4, you know, lithium ion battery cells. And I know, and I like those for the simple fact that they're portable, and so they don't have to be permitted, which is really nice. They do require you, if you build your own solar system, to permit everything, and I understand why, because if someone comes out here and builds a system that is not up to code or maybe catches fire, well, they could burn down everybody's property, you know. So hey, stop, okay, a little too hard. And so that's something that a lot of people ask about. You know, they say, well, I don't want any restrictions, and I'm like, you in my opinion, you want two. You want two restrictions. Um, you want to have it to where they put in septic, because the last thing you want is that, you know, you don't want to have it during monsoon season when everything floods, that, you know, human waste is flowing into your property from the next property. You don't want that. And so, and the county requires it anyway. So, you know, you got to put in your septic. Now, parts of rural Arizona do allow for the barrel septic, and what it is two 55-gallon drums that are next to each other. That basically, it's a way that you can, use the restroom in there. You have them 18 inches up out of the ground. So the rest of it's buried. And then when one fills up, you just go to the next one. And it's kind of like a stopgap until you put in legit septic, because you don't want to use that forever. But when you get them full, you just bury them. And you put the tops on them, clamp them down to where they don't have any way to spill out. And then sorry, Meadow's really running around right now. And then you can bury them, and the state is cool with that, and that's cheap. That's what Frugal Off Grid has done out in in St. John's area. I am going to go ahead and upgrade to the legit septic, which is anywhere from $5 to 10 grand, because I want to have a wash house out here, and with that wash house, I also want to have it to where I have a washer and dryer, because right now I'm doing all my washing of clothes by hand and all my laundry by hand, but it takes a long time, and there's times where the weather is not good enough for me to be able to hang stuff on a line, or it's too cold out and it freezes, whatever it may be, and the sun bleaches out your clothes really quick. So that can kind of make you run through gear on that. So that's eventually what I'm going to be doing. So let's see, Functional Whitney Home said, "Oh, you guys are in Ashford. Okay, what's going on, Fred and Jen?" And then they consider black water from the toilet and kitchen sink. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So just to make sure that you've got it to where you're compliant with code. Those are the only two things that I think are important. The rest of it, I don't really think they really need to be specific about. I've know out here with like the property owners association, they're like, hey, just get your septic and you're good. Like, and they know that I operate off of a portable power system, and so it's all good. And they they don't really get up in your business at all. Like, the county never comes out here ever. Like, I've never seen them. I saw a cop go by once, but that's because there was a fire up on the ridge above, and he was going up there to make sure everything was good. And what it was a lightning strike, but it was during a rainstorm. So I was surprised he was able to get up the hill. And once he got up there, the fire had already gone out. And so somebody had reported it, and so he went up there just to make sure that like the whole area wasn't going to burn down. But like the sheriffs in town and the police in town, they're really cool. I mean, they're part of the community. You know, they live out here. And one thing I do like about Seligman is that it's got good bones. You know, it's like there's a little private. Well, it's not private, but I guess the public can use it. But there's no planes coming in. But there's a little airstrip. You know, so if you want to have a plane out here, you can. Which I'd love to get a bush plane eventually. Use that for fly fishing trips and, you know, fly into cool areas, and also to check out all the hilltop ruins. It's got an old biker bar, an old Hells Angels biker bar in town, but the Hells Angels don't come through anymore. We're the midway stop for the international crowd that flies into Las Vegas, that goes to Williams and up to the Grand Canyon to tour that. So we get a ton of people coming through midday, which means that they're all looking for good places to eat, and we have like 6 or 7 decent places, pretty good places to eat in town. But during the daytime, you go there and the town's kind of packed, but by 3 o'clock they all leave. So for a town of 400 people, you know, Seligman's got a lot to offer. You roll through and you think like, it's not that aesthetically pleasing, but you have to think like the area used to like really go off when Route 66 was the main vein through here. Then when I-40 came in, that area kind of went into decline, and now it's starting to come back a little bit. There are a lot of historic buildings, like national and state historic buildings in town that are sitting vacant. So I think eventually, as the area gets more popular and more people more people are living out here, that you know, that'll kind of rise with the tide, which I think is great. Let's see what else about off grid. Oh, another thing too is you know, you've got to make sure that I love the blackout. That's a good place. One thing that you want to make sure of is that if you're going to operate off solar, make sure your parcel has a south-facing slope, because in the summertime it's no big deal. The sun's overhead, you know. So if you have a north-facing slope in the summertime, you can harvest solar. But in the wintertime, when the sun hangs so low in the sky, like if you go out and behind my camper here, and I got those trees that are just behind my camper, those cool junipers that are just right here. The sun doesn't even the sun goes below those during the winter months, and so I don't get sun on my camper at all for like 2 months. So you have to think, if you're on a north facing slope that's sloping down, you have panels out, they'll just be in shade all day, you know. And you don't want that, because in the wintertime, if you're going to be out here full time, the winter you'll chew through a ton of resources, and you know, lots of wood, or if you have a diesel heater, you know, you'll go through a lot of diesel. Lots of propane if you go out, you have a propane heater. And then if you have electric heater, I mean, you know, it's going to be a lot if you're running a generator, which requires gasoline. So think about all that stuff. Another thing too is think about the resources that you have on your property. Definitely, you know, you want a lot of wood. What I like is that there's a mixture of pinyon pine and old growth juniper, and then there's like that scrub juniper, which is the Rocky Mountain juniper, which is that's actually an invasive species out here. That's kind of spreading across a lot of the more subalpine, I'd say, you know, high desert / subalpine areas. And I don't like those because the scrub juniper, they kind of look like a big bush, and they block out so much sun that the soil just becomes a dead area around there. And they drop so much debris from those trees that the soil just kind of nothing else can grow. Now underneath the old growth junipers, that's the place where all of the pines get started, I've noticed, at least on my property. And the old growth junipers are entirely different. They have a big old tree trunk in the bottom of them, and they grow up, and they kind of look like, I call them like Nightmare Before Christmas trees. They just look all like spooky and Halloween trees, because the branches go in every different direction. But those will have large sections of the tree that die, and then the wood seasons while it's on the tree, you know, because it's not laying on the ground. If it lays on the ground, it rots. But if it's up in the tree and away from the ground and just dead, but like drying out, you cut that off, and that is the best firewood. I've actually got some right here that I harvested off, and it's like, you know, it's easy to flake apart, but it burns real hot. And this one's kind of cool. It's actually got axe marks from way back in the day from the cowboys that were in here. But you'll see, like, there's lichen that grows on it and all that stuff. And let's see, Brandon, you're saying, when you think of cedarwood oil, that's for most of the companies. So, oh, okay, that's cool. I didn't think about that. But I really like this firewood. And plus, too, it smells great, you know. So, it's any sort of cedar wood smells awesome in your stove. And so I can get really hot, long burns in my stove with this stuff. And I don't have to use a ton of wood just because I'm in a camper that's insulated. And so, you know, if it's cold out, I'll run my stove, but I'll keep the damper, which is the airflow, and I'll keep it real low. And I don't have a diesel heater or anything out here. I just operate off of a wood stove in the wintertime. But Serenity, no, this is an old growth juniper, and it's real. You can kind of see like the cedar nature of it there and all that stuff. And I mean, I love this wood, and it's easy to chop up. It's plentiful around here. So I've done, like when I got the property and I was still winter camping full time, I would harvest all my wood from the property here. And when I was in the tent, I'd go through a lot of wood. Here in the camper, I don't go through very much, but I've not put a dent in how much wood I have out here. There's so much wood that I have on my property in just a little 14-acre parcel. So if you get a 40-acre parcel, you've got wood for a lifetime. And another thing too that I've noticed a lot of people are doing is they're starting to sell wood from their properties, because the wood out here is like doubled in price in the past couple of years. And I'm not really sure what the reason is for that, but it's another revenue source you can do. I also have pine trees out here, and I get a ton of pine nuts, and so I'm wanting to harvest those this year, because I like to put those on salads and toast them up and everything like that. I think they're really good. And so I've got pinyon pine for firewood and also for building supplies, but I'd rather use the cedar, the old growth juniper, to make wood for building supplies, and also use that in my stove. Then just kind of keep the pines, because I really like how the pine trees look. And also too, I've noticed that I am going through and trying to get most of the Rocky Mountain junipers out of here, because I'm allergic to all the pollen they put out. They put out a ton of pollen. See, Brandon, you're asking, do you have a lot of dead wood ready for fire burning? Yeah, I got a ton. Like, I have this whole section in my lower meadow that had these massive old growth junipers, huge tree trunks. And they're all dead now, and they're just standing there. And so I'll go there and just, for like the wintertime, this whole winter, and granted, we haven't had that much snow, but I've basically just been cutting limbs off of one big old tree that's dead. Hey, Pumpkin, I don't want you dead. That's dead down there, and using that for my firewood, and I'm not even halfway through that tree. And I've probably got 100 trees like that out here. Like, it's crazy, especially on the north side of my property, because my property, it's kind of shaped like a pizza pie. So when you come into the area, it goes like this. Like, I've got public land on the bottom section here on the west. Then it goes like this, and then on the hang on, Pumpkin. No, I don't want you eating that. No, take them up there. So I've got it. It's like I said, it's like a pizza pie. So when you come in, you've got the west this way, which is where the public land is, and then it goes like this. Then it goes back down. Well, on the back side is where I've got a ton of old growth juniper that I haven't even touched yet, and like really big pinyon pines and tons of cryptobiotic soil. And then where I'm at, where I have my camper at, is actually like the ridge of my property. It's kind of like this hill that goes up about 50 feet in elevation, which makes for great views, because I've gone to, hey, stop it. All right, so I try to be stern with her, and it lasts for about 2 seconds. So that way, what I've done is I've gone through, because when I got here, it was real tight, and I mean real tight. Hey, stop, okay, stop. Here, play with that. Play with this. There, let's go over here. Here, play with that. There you go. That's your favorite toy. All right, cool. So when I got here, when I pulled my camper in this spot, on both sides of my camper, there were bushes that were right up against it. And, I had to go through and spend a ton of time kind of thinning out the area. But now that I've done that, it's great because it's opened up the views in all directions. So I've got 360-degree views around here. And when people come over, they're like, man, we didn't realize your views were so good. So it's pretty, I feel really fortunate that I have this parcel. And so to be up on this little ridge area, the nice thing about that is that over the years, over the eons, with the rain that's come down and everything, it's kind of naturally graveled the high section here. And so I haven't had to do a whole lot when it comes to like the monsoon season or the winter season. It's not muddy up here. Now in my lower meadow, where a lot of water pools, it's really muddy. But up here, I can operate, and there's a little bit of mud, but it's not bad. But it's mainly just a lot of gravel rock on the top layer, and then underneath that is soil. So that's why I didn't use heavy machinery on my top section here. Was because I thought if I use heavy machinery and just stored the soil, then what's going to happen is that it's going to get all muddy and stuff like that. Hey, Meadow, hang on, girl. And so another thing too that's nice about being on the high section, is that with my water container, it's actually on the highest point of my property, which is a few feet above my camper here. I'm able to just run hoses to different sections of the property and use gravity for my for water. I don't have to use a water pump. And so the gravity, you know, just depending on how long your hoses are, it doesn't really matter. You just run them to whatever part of your property you want. And all those sections are lower in elevation, and it just comes out no problem. Now for drinking, you know, if your water is in a hose, you have to think that that water was sitting in the sun all day, so it's going to accumulate, you know, a little bit of like algae could grow in it and things like that, so you want to clear it out. But once you clear that out and then, you know, let the water run for 10 or 15 seconds and it gets back to the cold water that's in the IBC tote, then, you know, you don't have to worry about that sort of stuff, and it doesn't have any growth in it. I think she has to go to the bathroom. I think that's why she keeps on running around here. So we're going to go for about 5-10 more minutes, and then I gotta log off and take care of her. But people were asking about the, oh, hang on one second. Hang on, I don't want you doing that, girl. Okay, come over here. Come back over here, sweetie. I've got a, I'll show you this here. This is a javelina skull. This is actually my friend Darren. This is the skull that he let me borrow for a little bit. But this is the javelinas, which are the, you know, like the feral kind of pigs or whatever. This is how dangerous they are when it comes to their teeth. So they can really do a number on a dog, and you want to be careful with that, because what they do is they run at you and they open their mouth and go back and forth, and then, you know, it can kind of really jack with a dog. Darren's dog got hit and had 3-inch gashes on the side of it, and luckily Louis, is his dog, is pretty fat, and it just hit the fatty tissue and ended up to where it didn't hurt Louis too much. I mean, it hurt him, but he didn't bleed out or anything, which was good. But people were asking about distances to area. You know, from my place, if I drive to Flagstaff, it's about an hour and 15 minutes. If I if I drive to Prescott, it's I could go 2 different routes. I can go an old Forest Service road that's actually considered a historic ranching road. I could take that. It takes a little bit longer because it's a little bit slower going, and it's probably about an hour and 45 minutes. And then if I go through, like, you know, I-40 to 89, which is where Ash Fork is, and take that down to Prescott, that's about an hour and 20 minutes, I'd say. And then Williams is about an hour. And then, oh, I'm sorry, not Williams. Kingman's about an hour. Williams is about 45 minutes. I like going to Williams because, like, the Safeway there has a bunch of good organic food, and they seem to have a lot of different stores there that you can kind of easily get in and out of. Flagstaff is really busy these days because the what do you think, girl? You need to go outside? We'll go out here in just a second. Flagstaff is just growing like crazy, and the college is really growing, and so I've noticed that the traffic in town there, it's a little bit harder to get around. But then so those are the towns I go to. Sedona's a little bit harder to get to because there's no straight shot, so I can either go over Mingus Mountain and go, like, go into Prescott Valley, go over Mingus Mountain and through Jerome, then through Cottonwood and Sedona, but that's like a 2.5-hour drive. And then as far as the other way, you know, going through Oak Creek Canyon is beautiful, but there's always a lot of traffic through there. So I think Meadow needs to go outside here, so we're going to go ahead and log off. You need to go outside, little sweetie? And then I think she needs to go potty. But I want to do these on a regular basis to give people ideas about, or not ideas, but just information about, you know, off-grid property and kind of what to look for and stuff like that. And you know, I do get a lot of emails from people saying, "Hey, I got this budget. I'm looking for this. What have you got?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm not a realtor. I don't really know all the areas, but I know which areas are good." And so I can kind of give like general counsel on it, but I can't give specifics because I don't know the inner workings of, like, you know, let's see, we got a super chat here. Miss Mother Trucker. Oh, I like that name. But you know, I don't know the inner workings of some of those communities. And so, okay, Papa, let's go outside. And so, you know, I don't know if, like, the community walls are decent. I don't know if how the POAs are or anything like that. I do know, like, in my area, the Property Owners Association, whoa, man, we got a lot of clouds that just rolled up. The Property Owners Association, my area, is great, and there's never been any issues with them. But there's other areas that do have, like, Property Owners Association that, you know, there's, like, internal fighting and stuff like that. So, you know, see if you can talk to some of the people that live in those areas as well, and ask them about, you know, what's the experience like. You know, how's the Property Owners Association? Are they reasonable? Is there a lot of infighting? Because, you know, unfortunately, some people can get out here and maybe they don't have a lot to do with their time, and they think like, oh, I'm going to get on the board and I'm going to crack heads and stuff like that. And it's like, we had that happen here at our POA one time, and they just told the gal, they're like, hey, you just need to chill out. And she did, which was cool. So yeah, Brandon, check this out. So here's here's what we got coming in. This is where all the rain comes. It comes from this direction here. And so it looks like this. This is what we got. And I mean, the sky was clear. The sky was literally clear when I started the live stream. So in 50 minutes, we've totally got socked in with rain. And it looks like over in this section, looks like there's already a little bit of rain starting to come down. So, all right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'm not gonna have a video for tomorrow since I didn't film today. It was just too windy, but I'll see if I can get something lined up for like Monday or Tuesday. And we'll go from there. So thanks for spending some time with us. Meadow's doing great. She's loving running around here, having a blast. And hopefully, you know, with the storm tonight, we'll get a little bit of snow, which would be awesome. So if we get that, I'll get some footage on film and share it with you all in the next video. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.